I'll be there Thursday.
Well, I was outside having my lips and I forgot what time it was. But I'm here now.
Please come in. We're waiting for you.
Come on in, Richard. Did you have your program with you? Here it is. There's mine. Okay. Big deep breath. And gratitude for our lunch. And think about all the energy that it took to bring that energy of food to you, to me. The seeds and the sowing, the sun and the rain, the harvest, the preparation. Great thanks. We begin again this afternoon. Having been encouraged and through an invocation of the mighty I Am throughout this day, as we continue our actualization of mind, body, and spirit. We're moving in to our session with Reverend Dr. Eleanor Richards, the shared presence among us. We have so much more power available, she says, and believes and thinks and lives. For instance, she says, Reverend Eleanor says, I know from experience our bodies heal themselves. In the August 2021 Science of Mind magazine, Margaret Stoltz reveals the amazing truth that when we clear up the mental muddle, the stuffed emotions, and our body's tendencies to get sick or be in accidents, then we cannot help healing others. Quoted Ernest Holmes in the same magazine. So welcome, and thank you for your service.
I have changed. Not loud enough. The man in the back knows that one. I have changed, and I'm sure you have too. And I'm going to tell you about some of the peaks that or hurdles actually, that I have overcome the last 4 years since I've been at ANTN. But I'm not going to bother with all the outside stuff that goes on all the time. Rather, I'm choosing to show you the insights I got and am getting on the way. Also, I want you to notice that right now I'm speaking to you in the present moment. I'm not thinking about how long I have, all that outside stuff. So I want to ask you if you can be present in the moment as well. And if you catch me going out of the moment and telling a story, I give you permission to raise your hand and also to talk back and forth because I enjoy the communication in the present moment. That's my favorite thing. Okay, what? You noticed. Is that what you're saying? No. Can't read sign language. All right. Interestingly enough, I'm going to begin with just a few physical, material parts of my life that I'm currently and in the past 4 years experiencing. This is necessary for you to know who I am. Right now, I do not have a church, and I am, if I were a witch, I would be a solitary. That's what they're called. And I enjoy being that. It's also frustrating, but I especially enjoy communing with people like we're doing right here. My second favorite thing. All right, it happened that my Center for Spiritual Growth closed in 2005 in Mount Shasta. It had always been in the Dunsmuir, Mount Shasta. Wairika is where it started, and I began that center in 1998 when I first became minister. Then I did other things, finding opportunities for listening and reading other people and understanding them as I did guest speaking around the region. Then something happened the summer of 2005 that changed my life. RSI was having their first Peace Award of the year, and it was given to Leonard Jacobson. Do you remember that? Maybe you were there, not there. And this man, whom I didn't know and I hadn't heard of, came up onto the podium and stood at the lectern. This was at Merrill Hall, and we had a group of, I don't know, maybe 80 to 100 people there. And he stood like I am doing and contacted every person before he opened his mouth. And the words come up as they're doing to me right now, because I know how to live in the present moment. So it's been that long that I discovered how it takes training. The present moment I need to define. You know what mindfulness is. It means when you go in the house and drop your keys on the table, you're mindful of doing that. And so when you lost your keys, you remember where you did it because you were mindful. By the way, I think this is a cure for Alzheimer's. Remember, bodies heal themselves. And in the training of remembering, you provide a pattern. Well, the present moment is a little more than that. It can be interchangeable, but if I'm fully present with you, I am aware of the words I'm speaking, and I'm aware that my feet are speaking, and my hips, and my whole body. And you are doing the same thing if you're present, and I think you are, in this moment anyway. Doesn't last long. So as you hear what I'm saying, hear with your body. Bring your body into it. So when you're dropping your keys on the table, let's say, you not only are mindful, but your body remembers. Remember, there's intelligence in every cell of the body. Well, I began to see the value of present moment living. So I was aware of doing this many times a day since then. So I've had lots of experience. Right now, my practice is to notice when I go out of the present moment, which I will do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you a story about something. That's okay. But notice. So this habit of being present is a very healthy one. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was training every cell in my body to be aware. By the way, this talk could be called Awareness is Key. It is for everything. So the training I went through all those years, just self-training, and I understood the presence of God. But when I teach mindfulness classes in the Bible Belt, I don't mention that part of it. I will eventually. I need to learn the language to speak. So, in the present moment, Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now, says every moment you are present, your body is healing. The immune system, especially, just what we need. So the value is tremendous. And imagine as you grow older and you are possibly prone to falling, breaking a leg or a wrist or whatever it is. And if you're not old yet, start this habit. If you are aware of where you put your foot, you are not apt to be walking and thinking about something else. That's what causes falls. And you don't need falls. All the way till the end of life, there's no need to fall. So you don't have to get Alzheimer's and you don't need to fall. And I can experience, I don't need accidents. Anybody here had that experience? If you're mindful, you won't get in an accident, I promise you. And I've been in many small and little accidents. You have too. So think back to one of them, like when you stubbed your toe. It doesn't have to be a major event. Stop and think, what were you thinking the moment before you broke your whatever? And you don't need to have accidents. So before all that, I had noted that my body did very well being aware, and I wasn't even conscious of it. And I realized that this body can heal anything if I'm aware. Anything. After all, if we do break our leg, we have to go to the doctors to have it fixed. But the body heals the broken bone. I used to wear glasses, and I decided I would heal my eyesight, and the body can do that. I'm now old enough to need them for driving. I'll have to admit I got my first pair last month, but that's okay. That's mindful too. All right, so I've been learning to live in the present moment, and right now I am so sure that we don't need to be sick. We don't need this stuff. You know how we get sick? Because it's contagious, of course. That's on the level of the material world. And so is just about anything you can think of. You are not present in the moment enough to mess up somehow or to let depression overcome you. Now I have a disclaimer. I'm interrupting my information and awareness that I am giving to you. I need to say something about Jerry's talk on Monday, when I was one of many that interrupted and added to it. And there was a lot of people that thought I was putting down the experience of grieving or depression. That's far from the truth. Being a marriage, family, child counselor and a minister and a body mind awareness person, I tell people to exaggerate the feeling. If it's depression, make a big deal out of it, but have a time limit. So in that way, we allow the body to experience whatever is going on in the moment. I also went to a body mind energy awareness school where I discovered my counseling methods weren't all that great. I was talking to the person being processed, group therapy situation, and I would always come up with a brilliant idea that was associated with what was being discussed. And I learned that does not work with the person I am not really, well, I'm actually healing, but I didn't know it then. The rule of keeping your relationship with who you're talking to, keeping it alive is don't take the person away from his experience. There's a book called Client-Centered Therapy. That's mindful. You have to bring it out of others. I am now out of the present moment because I'm telling you about something. So I'm going to invite you to get back with me, take a deep breath, and feel the inside of your body. Feel the love. Feel God as you in your body. And now come back out of the mini meditation, which, by the way, is the gateway to mindfulness or present moment living. It starts with meditation because in order to truly become God in our awareness, we're already one with God, but in order to know that, take a cat, for example, one with God, but doesn't know it. It's just a cat. All right, so as you leave meditation, I noticed where I'm living, people often have prayer groups of which I join in and do the traditional thing. But after a prayer, they always click a switch inside and become talkative immediately. And there needs to be a transition. I'll tell you why in a moment. After you finish a prayer or a meditation, think the words relaxed, mindful awareness. Can you walk with relaxed, mindful awareness? Can you lie down and sit up and eat and carry that meditative feeling into what you're doing? This is super important because ego jumps in at the slightest deviation, and even without any. Ego runs your life. Again, back to Eckhart Tolle, he says, if you cannot stop thinking, you're letting your ego run your life. Who wants that? Ego is a friend, but it got out of control. So we are in the process of making friends with our ego and saying, okay, now we're going to be present and you can't come here. So you wait outside the door and I'll be back to the physical world and we'll talk some more. But that's part of becoming aware of your body. Now, when you're meditating, you probably are like most people, including me. The monkey mind goes zippity zip, and you cannot at first stop your thinking. And yet, that's part of it. That's part of training yourself to heal your body. You must stop thinking. So I've got a little, in fact, I'm going to refer to another article in Science of Mind last month. It was September. It's the section where it's called Science and Spirituality, and it has the university professor and the MD. They have come up with brain studies that you actually change part of the brain in stress reduction. You remember Janine's stress reduction? There are a lot of ways of that. But if you are, and it's really easy, his prescription. You don't have to meditate for an hour a day. Whew, that was always hard for me. All it takes is the running awareness that there are two worlds that you are living in, the material world and the God world, the invisible and the visible. Two worlds we are living in all the time. And all we have to do is be aware. Which world are you in right now? Well, these authors say, thank goodness, all it takes, studies show, is a 10-second break and a 60-second break throughout the day. Start with the 10-second, go on to the 60-second. And stress is reduced. You're more aware. That's not hard to do, but you'd be surprised. It's taken me years to have an ongoing present reality flow through me. But you can do this and think of the rewards. The illness is gone. Accidents gone. You do have, I had a stroke, for example, during this time. So it's not that I'm free from upsets or a big bang type of thing, but that stroke was given to me personally. I wasn't a candidate for a stroke. I wasn't overweight. I didn't have cholesterol. I didn't have whatever the other characteristics are. And yet I had a stroke. So I overcame that pretty quickly and I learned my lesson. And I'll even share it with you because it's funny now. I was in the habit of giving blood. Now I'm telling a story, so I'm leaving the present moment. I was in the habit of giving blood, I think it's every 6 weeks. And one time, the doctor took my blood pressure and said, your blood pressure is too high for me to take your blood. He suggested I go see a doctor. Well, I've never had a doctor, except when I had my 3 children. My family never did run to the doctor at any type of thing that went wrong, so I just grew up that way. And I just said to myself, I'll decide when my blood pressure's high, not the medical profession. What do they know? That was where my ego was at that point. And so I got hit over the head with a 2x4 and I had a severe stroke. But I recovered quickly because I was aware. Awareness is key, it's everything. All right, moving on along the path of my spiritual unfoldment. When I was teaching meditation, I discovered that if somebody, I was trying to describe to them how the goal of meditation, and that is to be present, and you have to stop talking, and how can you do that? And it was very difficult for people who haven't been in this movement that long. So I devised a way of stopping the talking. And I must give Leonard Jacobson credit for this initial way of doing it. He says, find an object in the present with you, anything, even a part of your body or your breath or a chair or a Kleenex box or a candle, doesn't matter. Focus on that object. You all know this from meditation. Focus on it until after you check its size, its color, its shape. Don't give it any other thought. Just notice. And if you do this free of judgment, I don't like it, or it's too loud, or whatever it is, if you're free of judgment, you become that object. Have you discovered that? Anybody? Good, something new for you. When I become that TV screen, let's say, I feel that I'm square, a rectangle, and I am the color and the shape, and then my body opens in its awareness, and I feel that I'm in that shape of the object that I'm focusing on, and that leads you to the experience of God. That is, you are God and you feel it. It's awesome. It lasts about 10 seconds, maybe 5. That's okay. That counts. So doing this, then now I've got another story to tell you about that because that was a recent one. I mean, the one I'm going to tell you. Focusing on something physical in the room with you makes a connection between the invisible God and the chair, the material chair, and you merge those together. And one day, a few weeks ago, I realized it's sort of like hitching myself to a material thing. And that gave me the funniest picture in my mind. You know about the Westerns and the cowboys and all of that? Okay, picture this. You are riding a horse with cowboy boots, cowboy hat. those split reins, you know, not the English reins, but the ones that are loose, and you're galloping, and you come up to the hitching post, and you dismount, and you toss the reins over the hitching post and walk away. Well, the horse is your mind, galloping here and there until it makes contact with something physical, and it's trained to stay in awareness, in contact with that. And you, the essence of the divine, can do whatever you need to do without having to worry about what your body's doing. It's a wonderful way for me to get into meditation. This is so important, the steps between meditation, present moment, and the things. Now I'm getting a picture. One of the students, a retired Baptist minister, in my meditation class here in Lee Summit, he was having difficulty after focusing on something, becoming God. It just wasn't working. He wanted to believe me. He was a Baptist, don't forget. But he really didn't trust my knowledge. And I said, that doesn't matter. You don't have to believe in me. This is for you. And by the way, every one of you that is listening to my voice does not need to believe anything I say to get value out of this session. What I want you to do is resonate with something that I'm triggering in you accidentally, and that says, I'm going to remember that. I am delighted to see no one's taking notes. That interferes. Just let it come in. Okay. So, where was I before I thought of that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm so in the moment, I couldn't remember what was 2 moments ago. The Baptist minister was really trying to become God aware, poor thing, until I said to him, haven't you had a peak experience, an aha, a sunset, a baby's face that you really felt inside? And he thought for a long time. And then he said, yes, once when my boys were little and they were walking the Smoky Mountain Trail, and he saw the world different. He got that, you know, the colors are deeper, and the awesome that is everywhere when you have that experience. So he understood finally what I meant. So when you start to meditate, think of your peak experience and use that as a clue too. All right, something else is important to tell you about that. I'm skipping ahead now to the COVID time. I don't think if I've passed something, so be it. But now the amazing part of my story, and it is a story. I was walking in Moscow, Idaho, the month after COVID became worldwide known. It was early on, second month, 2020. And that was my first awareness. There was a plague. I just lost my husband. I was living alone, and the fear hit me. What was I to do? I didn't have any close friends or anything. And you know what happened? It's just like our speaker last night said. Jesus showed me or talked to me. It wasn't Jesus, it was my God self. I love that expression that I will use from now on. It was my God saying to me, you're not interested in COVID or any virus. Why should you be concerned? And in that moment, I knew I was free of that. I didn't have to go through that experience, I thought. But my higher self was taking care of me as usual. And 2 months later, my daughter and her husband visited me in Idaho. And 2 months after that, I thought, because finally people were talking about if you've had the experience of COVID, you are full of antibodies and you won't get COVID. I didn't pay any attention to any of it because I wasn't interested. And so I lived healthily, and I was aware of every cell in my body, don't forget, because I had the training. Well, I looked back on that time 2 months previous, and I realized there was a night when I woke up around midnight. The room was spinning. I felt like I was going to vomit. I had to get out of bed, and I had to claw my way out of bed. And I threw up and did everything you think of when it comes to COVID, and took my cell phone to bed with me because I might have to call 911. And I didn't think of COVID at all. I just thought, what is this coming on me? I guess I'm getting sick. But I didn't know what to do other than go to sleep with my cell phone. So I went to sleep, and I woke up 5 hours later in the morning. It was gone. I was cured, and yet I had it. So I have the antibodies, but I didn't have to go through the whole experience. So I said, thank you, God. I know what you mean. And that brings me to using your intuition, which I did and I had learned to do, hearing that small voice within, understanding and knowing it was the truth. The next step for many people is to realize you can make a decision from intuition as well as from intellect or logic or reasoning or measuring, because that's what our conscious brain is so good at. But what if you always made your decision by intuition? Learn to do that. I did. It's really fun. One time I was asked a question by a doctor and I couldn't answer it without more information. So I asked her why she said that. And the funniest thing happened. She gave me the intellectual information at the same time. My intuition was saying, yep, it's for you. And having two feeds coming from both worlds was quite an experience for me. All right. Do you think you can get an intuition that will heal whatever is amiss in your body? Aches and pains. I don't want you to believe it just because I say so. You have to get that from the God within you. You have to know. Just like I had known, I didn't need health insurance my entire life. The one exception was when I had the stroke. Other than that, I don't bother taking out even when I'm married, I didn't want to be on the health insurance, his health insurance, because to me, it's like betting against yourself. And that was not to my taste. So to this day, I trust my intuition, and I trust enough to know I don't believe. Did you realize if you believe something, you're separating yourself from God? I believe in God. Do you feel the separation? Subject, verb, object. I believe. So I don't say that anymore. I say things like, I know this, or I don't know this. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with not knowing, and there's nothing wrong with knowing. Well, okay. Do you think the medical doctors would accept my say-so about having the antibodies without any stamp of AMC approval, Medical Association, without the doctor's say-so? And I thought, someday we're going to have a carrying card. Those of us who are aware of our entire body most of the time, most of the day. So I decided I would design a carrying card. and I would sign it. It's full of I statements. And I have a sample of that with me. And I'm going to show you both on the screen. It's called the PAL card. I know you can't see it, so I will read it to you. Not yet. We're not quite ready for that, but in a few sentences more. I want them to understand what this card is like. PAL, present awareness level. That's the level I am on. And on the back it says, I am fully trained, it's self-trained, in the present moment. I am aware of my entire physical body most of every day. I live in the consciousness of health. Think of what the opposite of that is. I live in the consciousness of disease? No way. And I can neither catch nor give any virus or ill health of any kind to any other person. I give out and receive happiness and love. And then there's a place for you to sign your name and date it. But I'm challenging you. I'm going to give every one of you one, and there's a small enough crowd today. You can take 2 if you know that you already are that, and then the second card can be with a friend that already knows it, or you can teach, whatever. So this card for you doesn't have my name and address or phone number. It only has, it's the carrying card that you are free of disease. And maybe 10 years from now, they'll accept it. But I'm starting that trend, and I want you to join me. Now, if you need more cards, please email me, because this is available at Vistaprint, and I'm sure I can give you the code number. I think they would do that, and you can just copy it and print it out yourself, or you can design your own, doesn't matter to me. So I think now would be a good time. Martha is gonna pass one out. Definitely take one, even if you don't think, oh, that's not me. Take it anyway, because it gives you something to look forward to. And take another one for a friend that you think would be able to say, I am this, or soon anyway. Okay, so now you need my email, which is not on the card. Out on our table, I have recently put this wonderful Earthrise picture. I'm copying from the noetic science, because I found some people here follow the noetics too. And on the back of it is something that the noetics bet. They call it a noetic bet. I won't read it to you because you're going to pick one up. Also on the back is my phone number and my email. So you'll need to get one of these and have it as many as you want. There's quite a few. Oh, she's going to pass that out right now anyway. Okay, so that's available. And we're pretty close to closing, aren't we? So let me see if somebody is sitting with a question or a comment. Yeah.
Just because I love what you're saying, I want to tell you that I have insurance, I have Medicare, but I've never had a flu shot. And every year, the doctor tries to get me to get a flu shot.
She's saying she's never had a flu shot. The doctors want her to get one.
And I always give them the same answer. I don't do the flu. I have a body that is not conducive, no, not friendly, that is not flu friendly. My body is not flu friendly, so I don't need a flu shot.
So she's not flu friendly or vaccine friendly, probably, like I am. I am the same, and that's the way it works. Who else? I'm thinking of something that I might have left out. Okay, if I've left out, I'll have to come back next time and fill it in. So let's close with a coming together in consciousness. Now that you have all this new awareness, I'm going to invite you to be still, go within, and feel the inner side of you. You've heard the relaxation techniques of relax your feet, relax your legs. I want you to get inside of you and let your breath go in every part of you. And while you are visualizing where the breath is, you are not thinking, you are noticing. And you might notice that your stomach is a different color than your knees or something. Don't start thinking about that, but notice it. Notice the feeling of it. If you start wondering, you're out of the present moment. That's something you can check yourself on. So in this moment where we share the one presence of God, I know that each of us in this room is growing in love, awareness, and the best part, the happiness that comes when you know you are whole and healthy. I give thanks for this, and so it is.